Greetings, everyone. Dr. Brian Scott with you. This is Insights to the End Times. We have been examining Bible scriptures that point to the very end of this age we're living in. And this age will be followed by the 7 years of tribulation, which is followed by the Battle of Armageddon, and that's followed by the Jesus Christ coming back to the earth to rule and reign for 1,000 years. That's a very short synopsis of the time frame we're living in right now. Today, I want to share some information, and as we get into this week, I want to share some information that's talking about current trends in our society that are pointing to the very end. Today, I want to deal with artificial intelligence. This is technology that's become otherworldly. It is beyond our comprehension. High-tech is an understatement anymore. We should likely refer to what we call high-tech as uber high-tech. It is beyond our ability to comprehend how quickly it is growing and how invasive it has become. The algorithms that computer experts have devised can gather extensive data on us and information on us to the point where we don't even know we're being monitored in every area of our life. If you watch television at all and you watch a police drama, they will utilize facial recognition in almost every program. They can identify an individual and go after them just from facial recognition. In fact, the other night I watched a show where they were using your gait, your walking ability, and analyzing your walking gait to identify who you are. These things seem to be good if you're going after a criminal or a bad guy, but when they are applying this to you and you don't know it, that's when it's starting to get into a really hazy area. We are being indoctrinated by these programs on TV to relax and not be too concerned because they're going to get the bad guy. They've got facial recognition ability. If you were to read any reports on what's happening in China, you would find out that they are almost completely monitoring activity in their larger cities. They have so many cameras in operation that the entire city is blanketed. And in fact, when they test this out, if they use someone as a decoy or as a subject, they can identify where he is in the city and who he is within seconds. Great if we're dealing with bad guys, but there's not as many bad guys as good guys. Here in Ontario, Southern Ontario, where I live, we're not quite as camera ready as a lot of these places are that I'm talking about. But I want to tell you something. We have an awful lot of cameras. And they say if you're out on the street walking around in our city, you're going to be videoed at least 50 times over the course of a short trip in our city. So everything is coming to a place where somebody has monitors. They're monitoring what's going on. Excuse me. And when you take in other concepts like biometrics into consideration, folks, it's beginning to be extremely scary. Biometrics will analyze your movements, your gait, your walk, and they can identify you. Facial recognition can identify you. Voice recognition can identify you. It just keeps getting more advanced all the time. There's a program being developed in the United States right now. It's developed under artificial intelligence where they can take infrared lasers to identify you by your cardiac pattern, the way your heart responds. And these infrared lasers can read that information from a distance of 200 feet away from you, and they're being advanced and developed further so that they can extend the length that they will work a much greater distance. So imagine that they can use a laser pointed at you to measure your cardiac pattern, your heart pattern, to identify who you are. And you thought giving your fingerprints was a scary deal. Oh my gracious. We've gone way past that. Data recordings of voices are being refined to identify individuals by their age, their race, and their gender. In fact, if you get a phone call that's coming from an unknown number, you are foolish to answer it. If you answer if you're asked a question on that call and you answer yes, they are beginning to work their programs to identify your voice so they can reduplicate it and use it against you at a subsequent time with banking information or otherwise. This is like, wow. Here's a couple more thoughts for you. Artificial intelligence now has reached a point where it can analyze massive amounts of information in a matter of nanoseconds. In fact, one report I read said they can analyze 10 trillion operations in a second, in 1 second. Google has a new program called Talk to Books. It can read and review 120,000 books in half a second. It can answer your questions with quotes from these books in less than 1 second. China's face recognition program is so advanced that they can scan their entire population by facial recognition in under 1 second. So I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to tell you that these things are occurring. The Bible predicts that in the end times, knowledge will escalate. It will accelerate. It will be so widespread, it will be beyond our comprehension. Where are we heading with all this technology? Well, if all these things can be done in a matter of seconds, where we're heading is somebody is going to be in control of everything in a matter of a short period of time. They're going to have complete control over every person, all their movements, all their activities, all their interests, because it's all driven by artificial intelligence, machine learning, algorithms, quantum computers, and so on and so forth. Wow. Let me summarize what I'm sharing with you this morning, because I don't pretend to be an expert in all these fields whatsoever. I'm just doing a mountaintop look at them today. And from the mountaintop peaks, it's a very scary sight. But let me summarize. These digital networks and these extreme databases will place every living person under surveillance that will allow the Antichrist to exercise totalitarian control over the entire earth. That has always been Satan's objective, right from the time he got kicked out of heaven. This is the conflict that is rising in the world. We see conflict everywhere. Right now, we're living through Russia invading the Ukraine and fighting that war. We're also living through the Hamas invasion of Israel and Israel's response to that, invading Gaza. We see conflict everywhere, but the major conflict that is driving this world is the concept of evil versus good. The devil, Satan versus God, and so on and so forth. Total surveillance of this world will give the Antichrist total control. It's predicted in the Bible. It's coming to pass in real life. We're on the verge of it occurring. Get ready. Your redemption draws nigh. I will see you tomorrow. Amen.